Have you ever wondered how college students feel about not getting paid for playing sports while their coaches are making millions? What about for playing a sport that could seriously injure them and that people pay tons of money to come see them play? Of course not. You sit at home and watch them pay, which also gives money to the NCAA. None of the money combined goes to the player, and it should. Considering that the players are the major source of income for the NCAA and the coaches on their team, I believe they should be paid for their talents relative to the amount of money their schools get. After my research, many celebrities and pro athletes feel the same way as I do. Today I'm going to talk about college student athletes and how they do not receive any money for that they really deserve. According to Art Carden in his article on college student athletes, the athletes are required to act as professionals and actively earn their school's money while spending all their time missing class for games and using all their free times in the weight room, the football field, and at their games. The typical week for a D1 football player is about 43 hours that is spent inside the workroom, practice facilities, and at their games. They earn nothing for this time. In 2014, Florida State football players missed the first few days of spring classes because of the national championship game. For most college sports, games are played during the week that causes them to miss class for nationally televised games that bring in revenue for their schools. For some schools to participate in the Road to the March tournament, which is called March Madness, may require students to mess up to a quarter of their classes. In the picture, it says, "No money, no gifts, no cars, no endorsement deals. Tell me again why we're doing this." And the other guy says, "For education, but I'm not feeling too smart." And they're pulling a car with NCAA and pro sports flags. This means that players who play in college are only getting free tuition to play sports when they don't spend any time being able to study, which makes no sense. The players have a right to the money that they bring to their schools and the NCAA. The University of Alabama brought in more than $143 million last year in sports, which is more than 55 other pro teams. Most of the revenue does not even go back into their classrooms. Instead, the money goes straight to select administration, athletic directors, and coaches. The average D1 player is worth about $170,000 per player based on the $4.5 million per player per year of the revenue of all 351 D1 schools. The players of NCAA get paid nothing while spending all their time playing sports. But paying the players will not only benefit them and their families, but the NCAA as well. Dave Anderson says that paying athletes will help them and their families make ends meet and make the sport more competitive. Being paid would not only help the athletes afford a decent meal, but it would give some money for them to send back to their families. The school and NCAA do not compensate for other things that are mandated for their sport, like suits for banquets. This chart shows the average spending per regular student and per athlete. While most students only spend up to $13,000 a year, most student athletes spend up to $100,000 per year, which means that they should be getting paid for their work. The NFL based their payments on the performance of the players, and if the NCAA did this, it would increase their work ethic and make the sport more competitive. Instead of working part-time jobs, they could use this extra time and extra energy for games, which would boost the competition and would bring the NCAA more money. In conclusion, athletes spend all of their time, which is a full-time job, of studying and practicing sports while making no money at all. Today, more than $11 billion is dispersed over all NCAA schools and officials, while the players that make everything possible are not recognized for it. The benefits of paying players to play in college would not only benefit them and their families, but will also benefit the sport and the NCAA. The sources I used include an article by Dave Anderson called Top 10 Reasons College Athletes Should Be Paid, a newspaper article by Malcolm Lemons called College Students Athletes Getting Paid, an article by Elad Picado called Should College Athletes Be Paid, and a newspaper article by Mark Edelman called Why Student Athletes Are Employees and Why They Should Be Able to Unionize. Thank you.